Okay, well, welcome everyone to the CMALTcMOOC, and it's great to have a whole range of people here from all around the world this morning. So, well, morning for us, it's evening for the UK. We've got Shree from the UK, we have Kavita from Melbourne, and then we've got a couple of people from around New Zealand, which is fantastic. So, welcome everyone, and I'll get you all to introduce yourselves. So let's start with Kavita, and just tell us who you are, where you're from, and perhaps why you're joining the CMOOC.
Okay. Well, I'm a learning designer at Deakin University, and I've only recently just started that gig, 4 months in, still new to the field itself. But previously I was an academic literacy instructor and e-learning teacher at Trinity College at Melbourne Uni. So for the past half a decade, I was teaching, but also designing the learning experiences for my colleagues. And so I've recently transitioned into full-time learning design. Although I have the experience, I thought I'd sort of train myself up on best practices and starting with a framework, so to speak, of how I do my job, and I don't have enough of that experience. So this is why I'm here, to learn about how the instructional design principles are set up, what the frameworks are, and also to network and see what other people are doing in the field.
Great. Sounds like you're a very similar job to Lisa. Stephanie.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, because I switched microphones. Yes, I'm Stephanie. I live in and work in Palmerston North, New Zealand. I work at IPU New Zealand Tertiary Institute. And I am in a role as a lecturer in teaching academic English, and I teach courses in research, but I have in the last couple of years taken on a role as the digital learning facilitator here at IPU. So really trying to lead this, it's a very small institution, but just lead and build the infrastructure for e-learning and digital learning. So I work with other lecturers and with workshops and ways that they can integrate technology into their teaching and learning. Yeah, so that's been my role for the last couple of years, but I'm also really trying to pivot myself into a position to gradually also take on a role that's more full-time in learning design or learning technology. And so I've been actively involved with Escalate for the last couple of years and gotten a lot of good networking and mentoring. I've met Kavita, who's kind of become like a peer mentor for me. And so I see this as a great opportunity to become part of this community and also learn some important elements of learning design and learning technology and learn more about that profession. So that's a little bit about me. I'm looking forward to joining you all in this adventure.
Great. And next on my screen, I've got Merle.
Hi. My name is Merle. I teach at Manukau Institute of Technology. And I have always loved playing with new technology. I've always loved helping other lecturers get into new technology. I've probably driven some people at my institution rather crazy because I'm always wanting something that they are not ready to accept. I have terribly missed Lisa and Oriel since they left MIT, because they were my mentors. They were my inspiration. Since they've left, I felt like I was one little cog in a wheel that nobody paid any attention to. And the main thing I was looking for with this was the community and getting a little bit of support. I mean, I've just submitted a PhD, so I'm PhD in under examination or whatever they call it. And it just meant I've suddenly got all this time And, I never had holidays, I never had weekends, and I don't want to stop. I don't want to just sit and vegetate, and I want to explore new things, learn new things, perhaps contribute my ideas. I don't know, just grow.
Great to have you on board.
Thank you.
So we've got Lisa next.
Hi everyone. Yes, I did used to work with Merle at Manukau Institute of Technology, and no, Merle, you didn't drive me nuts at all. You're always keen to learn new things, and sorry that I've left you behind there, but hopefully this community will get you involved with more technologies, and you'll learn lots of stuff.
Cool.
Now, I work with Tom at the Auckland University of Technology, and I work in the Learning Technologies department, doing learning design, doing instructional design. So this cMOOC will hopefully open my eyes to a few more technologies that I may not have seen or heard of. And hopefully with the learners that we've got on here, Stephanie, I think we've met before. You've come to AUT.
I was wondering, last October?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I recognised you as soon as you started talking. I'm like, yep, that's Steph.
Yeah, that American accent, right?
Yeah, that's the one. So I'm hoping to support people in the cMOOC as well as learn new things.
Great. And next on my screen, I've got Ben.
So hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Well, I'm a senior researcher at Otago Polytechnic Auckland campus, and I research the capabilities that learners need to develop in order to become employable. I do a lot of research with employers, lecturers, learners, and it's a pleasure to be with you and discuss things and being part of this great community.
Thank you, Ben. And then finally on my screen at the moment, we've got Shree, and Shree is all the way from the UK, which is obviously getting quite late for her, but welcome, Shree.
Thank you, and I hope you don't mind that I don't have my camera on at the moment. It's kind of 11:15 at the moment, so I'll leave that off if that's okay.
You're in your PJs, are you?
Not quite. I'm just self-conscious now. There you go. I'll say hello briefly. There you go. This is me at home. Not looking my best, but so yeah, I work for an organisation called JISC. I don't know, some of you might have come across it, and it's a UK-based organisation, digital solutions for education and research and so on. So right now, I'm working in a part of JISC called Digital Futures, which is like the R&D bit, if you like, kind of producing services. And I'm working on a project called Digital Capabilities, and I'm working with organisations and staff to see how they can develop their skills and so on, to get the most out of the technology that's out there. And before that, I was supporting individual, members of teaching staff and organisations. And so really what I would like to do is kind of, and yeah, before that I was a teacher in an FE college, delivering various courses and kind of encouraging people to use different types of technology. So I'm hoping that, this course is right for me, because what I'd like to do is connect with the actual learning technology side, individual things, and kind of learn a bit more in depth about how technologies are being used, and perhaps experience that and reflect on how we can kind of roll that out across organisations and so on. I don't know. I hope that kind of makes sense a little bit.
Great. Well, it's great to have you on board and have you as a bit of a representative from the UK today. So, yeah, so really today is, as I said before, really just a bit of an intro, a bit of an overview of the cMOOC, how we do things, how we facilitate the community, the network. And it's great that people are really interested in networking and creating an international community, because that's what it's really about. So that's why we've called it a cMOOC, to really differentiate. It's about connecting people and connecting ideas rather than content, which is perhaps a traditional xMOOC, which is more of a a large lecture version online. So you won't find a lot of content in what we're doing. What we try to do is do triggering activities each week. In other words, try to suggest some activities that people can do with different technologies to get you thinking about teaching and learning, and using those perhaps in your own practice, or how other people might be able to use them. So we have 7 weeks, and we really start the cMOOC as such next week, but this is kind of like a welcome intro, and for those who are not quite sure if they want to commit, then just have a bit of a look. So I'm going to share my screen and just give a bit of an outline. Now feel free to ask questions as we go, so it's just not me talking the whole time. And we'll just give you a bit of an outline of what we do and how you can contribute. So I'm going to share my screen here. So hopefully you can all see my screen, which should be showing the CMALTcMOOC WordPress site.
Yeah.
All good?
Yes.
Great. Excellent. It's good when it works. So basically the hub for the cMOOC is on WordPress. It's CMALTcMOOC.wordpress.com. And if you have a look there, you can see what we do each week and the various resources. So the blog, I tend to sort of update each week with, what the activities for this week, some links to resources, links to various activities. The about is just a bit more about the development of the cMOOC. The sign up form, of course, is where people can put their contact information so that we can enroll them in our discussion forum, follow them on Twitter, etc. The activities, well, this is just kind of what we do each week. And we've kind of mapped this each week to part of a CMALT portfolio. So what we're doing is looking at what do you need to do to create a successful CMALT portfolio. And of course, CMALT is a certified member of the Association for Learning Technology, which is based in the UK, but has franchised the CMALT accreditation to Escalite as well, which is the Australasian, effectively, version of ALT, the Australasian Society for Computers and Learning in Tertiary Education, but we have a whole lot longer name. And just like ALT, we have our own journal as well. So ALT has Research and Learning Technology as a journal, and Escalite has AJET, the Australasian Journal of Educational Technology. And so over the next 6 weeks, so the first thing we're going to look at next week is the contextual statement, which is kind of like, what motivates you? Why are you interested in teaching and learning? And in particular, why technology to enhance that? So it's kind of like what drives you? What are some of the influences that have really contributed to your practice? The second week, we're looking at the section of the portfolio which is exploring operational issues. So it's things like, how do you implement technology in teaching and learning? What are some of the pitfalls? What are some of the things that get in the way? And perhaps what are some of the things that are beneficial? Then the third week is exploring learning, teaching and assessment. So it's really looking at how do you design assessments using technology? What are some of the things that perhaps you can do that you can't do without technology? What are the issues around learning, teaching and assessment with technology? Week 4, exploring the wider context. So that's things like, influential things that impact upon your practice with teaching and learning. They may be like governmental legislation. It could be institutional policies. In Europe, there's been a big look at data and data protection, GDPR. We don't have that in New Zealand, at least not yet. But one of our key issues is the bicultural context in which we live, which is including the Treaty of Waitangi. So of course, there's different issues in Australia. So it's what are the key things that are unique to your context? And that could be cultural, it could be policy and legislation. The 5th week, we're looking at communication and collaboration. And by doing this cMOOC, you're actually putting that into practice. So what we hope to do as well is by people being part of this network, that we're also providing you with an opportunity to create evidence to go into your CMALT portfolio, evidence of these various areas. And that's why we encourage you to create your own blog. It's as a bit of a journal, a diary of your learning. You'll be able to reflect on what you're learning as you're going along or what you're sharing, and that all becomes evidence that you can then put into your CMALT portfolio as well. Choosing a specialization, so that's perhaps what is a particular area or a skill or interest that's unique to yourself. You know, what do you bring to technology enhanced learning that perhaps no one else does, or what's the key thing you're really interested in that kind of sets your practice apart. And then the final week, we have a bit of a look at how do you publish your portfolio, or you put it together, different formats, etc. And of course, we're not limited to these, but that's just kind of where we start each week to get people thinking. So, of course, a big part of it is we're interested in people sharing. So, apart from the webinars, which we hold each Friday New Zealand time, which is Thursday evening for the UK, we encourage people to contribute ideas into what we call the project bank. So the project bank is like an online form where we've broken it up into each of the areas of CMALT portfolio, which follows each week. And what we are keen for people to do is, if they're willing, is to share the development of their portfolios as they go along. So you can see here's examples of contextual statements from various participants in the past. And what you're sharing here is basically a link to your contextual statement, which could be on a WordPress blog, it could be a Google site, you know, it could be PebblePad, Mahara, whatever you're choosing to use. So this is a description of the item that you're sharing. The image is whatever image you want to associate with your item that you're sharing. So Neil's done a little trendy video capture of himself there. And then the link to the content. So the content doesn't live here on the project bank. What you're sharing here is the link to it and a description. And then you can also vote on these items as well. So basically giving each other some feedback, a star rating out of 5. And I think the default when you create a new project bank item is like a 3 stars or something. But if you feel your item is worth more than that, then give yourself 4 stars or 5 stars, you know. And then tweet it, or you know, see if you can get other people reading it. So for Neil's here, he's had 3 votes. He's got 3.67 out of 5, and it should also tell us how many people have viewed it. So we're kind of gamifying the sharing of content as well. So hopefully these activities will also give you some ideas of maybe some tools that you could embed into your own practices as well. So that's Project Bank. That's where we're keen for people to share elements of their portfolios. We have a few resources. We have a blog roll. So when you signed up, if you've given us your blog link, we put that into the blog roll, and that just curates all those. And as people post, we can sort of get notified rather than having to check 85 different blogs each week. They all get curated into that page. And then of course we have a discussion forum. So the discussion forum we're using is a Moodle forum. We used to use Google Plus Communities, but that's died. And we found that the Moodle forum doesn't seem to unfortunately generate as much user discussion as we hoped. So really keen for people to use the forum more. As you can see, it's mostly there, me posting each week and posting out links, but really keen to get other people having a voice on that discussion forum. So feel free to add discussions, to reply, to comment, share stuff there as well. And the link for that is community.sotel.nz. And then you look for the CMALTcMOOC forum, the discussion forum there. So each week I'll post, you know, what's happening with the webinars, a reminder, etc. You should get notified, and the email that you've put in your sign-up form is the email that I'll enroll you into that discussion forum. So make sure you check that email address, not like Lisa, who supplied a wrong one and was wondering why she wasn't getting notifications. But I think we've got around that now.
It was that
So
two
that's
people
kind
had
of
the same email address.
yeah, multiple email addresses. Right. So that's kind of the big overview, and we're using Zoom for each of these webinars. The Zoom link is the same for all 7 weeks. So once you've got it in your calendar, hopefully you'll get a reminder each week, and then it'd be great to have you on board as part of this discussion. So I'm going to stop screen sharing there. That was a big long monologue, but any questions, comments? Anyone want to pull out now?
No, you won't let me pull out.
No, you're a co-convener.
Yeah.
Well, I did have one question. Sorry, Lisa.
No, wait.
Is it self-paced? So if I miss one of the webinars, perhaps, or Zoom meetings, can I still continue in the course?
Yeah. So what I do with the Zoom meetings is I record them and then I upload them to YouTube.
All right.
And then share them. So I'll share the link on the discussion forum, so people can watch them later. So of course, when we were using Google Hangouts, that was streamed live. So the people who joined could join the discussion, but anyone could watch it as well live, and then it was archived to YouTube. We can't quite do the same thing with Zoom, but I can record it and then share it on the YouTube playlist later.
All right, that's good.
And as far as the activities go, it's just, you dip in, dip out, participate when you can, and if you miss a week, then the activities, there's nothing particularly intense there. It's pretty easy to catch up if you want. Or as, we get a lot of people who've done this multiple times. So, Ben's been involved 2 or 3 times, Lisa obviously 3 or 4, and, Lisa's still working on her portfolio. And every time she does the CMOOC, she does a bit more on it. It'd be nicer, if she finally submitted, but we're getting her there.
Watch this space. And I'm happy to be in contact with other people on this this webinar, offline, to give me encouragement to keep it going.
That's great. So I think that part of the idea of the network is really to encourage each other to work on your portfolios. I guess it doesn't matter if you don't submit a portfolio for accreditation, because hopefully we're sharing practice, we're sharing ideas, and hopefully it's beneficial for people just from being part of that community as well.
Just a question, Tom. Could you explain about the accreditation? Do we have something like, an award or certificate given to participants at the end of the course?
So not from the CMOOC itself, but when you, if you submit a portfolio for accreditation for CMALT, then that goes to ALT in the UK and it's peer reviewed. There is a cost involved in that, so I think it's £150 for the review. And if you get accredited, and now there's 3 levels. There's associate for people who perhaps don't have as much experience in using learning technology, or it's not such a huge part of their job. Then CMALT accreditation for perhaps traditionally learning technologists, but anyone who's using a significant amount of learning technology in their role. And then there's now senior CMALTs, and that's aimed at people with perhaps management experience in learning technology, who have a high level specialization or significant research in learning technology. So there's a cost for the accreditation process because that's got to be managed and handled, and you do get a certificate, and you can then use that as post-numeral in your signature, so CMALT or associate CMALT or senior CMALT, just like you can with HEA fellowship. Mm-hmm. And the other cost involved is you also do need to be a member of either ALT or Escalite. So that's an annual membership cost, which I think is around £75, about $150 a year for that membership.
So, and we have to renew that every year, right? No,
well, the membership, yes, but your portfolio, you need to update every 3 years to keep it valid. And the reason for that is because technology changes.
Yes.
So that is a significant difference between CMALT accreditation and other accreditation systems that tend to be a one-off for life. CMALT is very much about being current and being part of the community and practicing, so that's embedded into the accreditation system itself. You do need to be current and keep up to date.
Thank you.
Good questions, Ben. Okay, well, any other questions from anyone?
Not a question, but at the recent Learning Teaching conference in Sydney for Blackboard, I presented on the CMALT. So I do have a PowerPoint here that I'm happy to share with people if they want to. CMALTcMOOC. So just,
cool. So maybe you could post that in the discussion forum, Lisa?
Will do. Yep, put it up there and you can have a look through it.
Okay, and there's a couple of messages in the chat for Zoom, so good to see a little bit of background, conversation going on there. So if you hadn't looked at that, if you mouse down the bottom of the Zoom window, there's a chat icon, you can see the chat there. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. Hopefully it's useful, give you a bit of an overview, and as I said, I will post this on YouTube and tweet the link and post it on our discussion forum for anyone who wants to watch it later. And love to have you all join us next week as we review the first week's activities. So
thank you very much.
Good to see everybody and meet them.
Nice to see and connect with everyone.
Good to see you, Steph.
Yeah, you too.
Awesome.
All right, talk soon.
See you all.
Cheers. Bye-bye.